viewers, I am your DD from Mission Education to Success. So today we are going to see Physics Chapter 4 Class 11th. So Physics Laws of Motion Chapter 4. So laws of motion, we are going to study about Newton's 4 laws of motion. So before studying Newton's laws of motion, first let us see a law that had come before Newton's law of motion, Aristotle's law. So Aristotle's law states that, you can note it down, for a body to be in motion, a continuous force is required. I repeat it, for a body to be in the state of motion, a continuous force is required. So this law is also called as Aristotle's law of fallacy, because it's false. To keep a body in motion, continuous motion, we don't need a continuous force. When a ball is moving, are we giving it force continuously? When the ball is kicked by a player, is he giving the force back to back, back to back, back to back? Once kicked, once the force is applied on the ball keeps on moving. So there is no, that continuous force is not required for a body to be in a state of motion. So Aristotle's law could be considered as fallacy. Now, coming to Newton's law. So Newton's first law, it states that it talks about force. So Newton's first law fully talks about force. So first let us see what is force, and then let us see what is Newton's first law. So force basically, if we take, it's just a push or a pull. That's where we apply force, right? To push something or to pull something, we apply force. So force is defined as a push or a pull that produces or tries to produce acceleration, that produces or tries to produce acceleration. Now there is a moving ball, okay? I apply some force to that moving ball. It moves more faster. Its velocity is increased. When velocity increases with time, and what is that? It's acceleration. So the force tries to produce or produces, force actually produced some acceleration to that body and it moved faster. Now a car is moving in, imagine it's 20 km of speed. A force is applied and it gets accelerated and moves from 20 km per hour to 40 km per hour. So now acceleration is produced in that car. So force had produced some acceleration to that car. Now if I push a wall, will that wall go to motion? Will that get accelerated? No. So that's why the statement is being given as it produces or it tries to produce. Now by pushing a wall, I tried to produce some acceleration, but it did not work out. The wall did not move. The wall did not get accelerated. Can you understand why the statement is given as produces or tries to produces? So this is the definition for force. Now what can force do? Force can change the direction of the body. Suppose a ball is moving, in a straight direction. I apply force. I kick it to its left. Now it starts moving in the left side. I kick it to it right. It starts moving to the right side. So it changes its direction, and then it changes the shape of the body when force is applied. And chapati dough, if I apply force, the shape changes according to that, right? And then the force can change a body from rest to motion or motion to rest. So these are the four things that a force can do. First thing, it can change the direction of a body, and second thing, it can change the motion from rest to motion or from motion to rest, and then fourth thing, a force can change the shape of the body. Now Newton's first law not only explains us about the force but also about inertia. So your inertia is nothing but, it is an force that opposes the change of state. We can either call it as force, or it's better to call it as a property. Property to oppose the change of state. So it is the property to oppose a change of state. That is called as inertia. There are basically three types of inertia. Inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. Now let us talk about Newton's first law. Newton's first law states that, you can take down, every body, I repeat, every body continues to be in a state of rest or in a state of motion along the straight line unless an external force is acted on it. I repeat it. Every body continues to be in a state of rest or in a state of motion in a straight line unless an external force acts on it. So your Newton's first law explains about inertia as well as force. So you have to study the two definitions of that is inertia and that is force. So the next topic is linear momentum. So linear momentum is defined as the product of mass and velocity, and linear momentum, it is the vector quantity, because mass is a scalar quantity and velocity is a vector quantity. So scalar and vector gives an vector quantity. It is also called as gross product. So linear momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So momentum, the product of mass and velocity. To calculate the momentum of a train, we need to know its mass and velocity. The mass of the train and the velocity of the train. So to calculate the momentum of any body, we need to know its mass and velocity. So momentum depends on two things, that is, one is mass and one is velocity.